On. It is Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys being here. Today is Transfer Portal Wednesday, okay? If you caught my show last night, we talked about roster management, and we went through literally every single position by unit, and the simple question was, do you think these players will hit the transfer portal? Maybe this player, maybe that portal. You know, the biggest takeaway last night, I didn't leave the show. I left the show optimistic. I don't think a lot of guys, and even some people that I talked to, it doesn't seem like there's going to be like this huge wave of guys hitting the portal. And before I, give my shout outs and talk about the show today, I think that says a lot about where things are under Coach Kalen DeBoer in terms of that being positive. There might be a couple guys who maybe leak out, but I think this is going to tell you how solidified that this team is right now and the direction that this team is right now. You got the coaches intact. The tracks have been laid. I honestly entered today, I'm not worried about guys dipping out. I'm actually kind of excited to see what Alabama does, and if they add, they will add a couple players. But in terms of leaving, there might be a couple that leak out, but it just real quickly, don't be very nervous. Don't be like, oh my goodness, there's going to be this wave of people leaving. I don't think it's like that. I think it'll be more positive than negative throughout these next, 10 days or whatever it is. So if you're out there and you were stressing, don't. Just sit back, relax. And I think that it'll be a small number that trickles out. And I think some of the players that they'll bring in, that will be interesting to track. And there's a couple positions that I think Alabama does need to maybe target to get a vet or a playmaker, whatever. We'll talk about that on the show as well. But if you look to this quick graphic, I'll do my shout outs in just a minute. On 3, I think 24/7 now has us too, where you can go and look at the players that have entered the transfer portal. Clearly Nico up top, who's officially in the transfer portal with the do not contact. So that means I guess he knows where he's going. But they have it listed in terms of the players. So, for example, Cameron Camper, and this right here tells you where they're ranked. There's a bunch of offensive linemen, actually, a bunch of tackles that hit the transfer portal today. And I don't know how often this is updated or whatever, but it kind of gives you a snapshot of the player. So the way that I found this was I went to On 3, I clicked on transfer portal, and then I clicked on best available. And when it's best available, it's it kind of shows you the players that are listed. So let me do some shout outs today. Let's see who we got checked up in the house. If you guys were on the show last night, it was fun. All right, Max Tooney, what's up, man? Good to see you. Alyssa, good morning. You guys are always 1 and 2. These the two kids at grade school who are always present. Remember, did you say present or here? Alex, what's up, man? Ephraim, what's up, bro? I appreciate you. Imagine if no player from Bama goes into the portal. Look, I think it's going to be a small number. And I say that because I feel that things are really stable within the roster. When you start having players dip out during this point in time, it says a lot about, what's going on up top. And I think right now, things are pretty solid with Alabama. And I think the ones know who the ones are, and I think the twos know who the twos are. And just as Coach Kalen DeBoer said, and we'll pipe in some sound in just a minute, it's not always, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. We talk about that all the time. Chad, what's up, man? Good to see you, bro. Herman, good morning. I appreciate you coming to us from Texas. See who else is checked in. Oh, Kimberly, what's up? Appreciate you being here. All right. Anita, see you as well. Rocketown, Bamandiri, what's up? Anita, Arnetta Neal, what's up? Kevin, Rocketown, Bama Boy, King's Family React. That's what's up. We have a good crowd up in here. Melon Jesus. All right, Bylaw, what's up, man? Good to see you. Matt Dunn, Nicole, good morning. Seth. A big crowd today. Patrick, what's up, man? Drew, good to see you, Drew. Drew saying Derek Meadows at tight end. I think sometimes when we see a larger tight end, a guy who's 6'6", a guy who's 6'5", sometimes we think about, having that guy at tight end. It doesn't necessarily always translate. I think one of the ones that would have made sense, I don't think the Derek Meadows ones make sense from a tight end perspective, But I really feel this way. I feel that Caleb Odom should have thought about becoming a playmaking tight end. And I think if he would have done that, and let's say that Caleb Odom, who's now at Ole Miss, and I think he's going to be really good. I think he had kind of the body type, and not to say that Derek Meadows doesn't. Derek Meadows is a little bit leaner, but I think Caleb Odom is kind of like a hybrid wide receiver tight end. And you know what? If he would have made that switch, and I don't even know if that was ever brought up. Didn't he come here as a tight end? I think he came here. Yeah, he was a tight end here. So if think about this, okay? Caleb Odom, not talking about the ones that got away, but Caleb Odom, if he stayed, he would be tight end number 1 right now. It would be him and Josh Cuevas, and he would be your playmaking tight end, 1,000,000%. I have no idea where he is on Ole Miss depth chart, and I'm sure he's going to get fed the ball, but he would have definitely been number 1 tight end here. And somebody, I mean, you imagine Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, Isaiah Horton, and Caleb Odom at the tight end position. Yo, that's crazy to think about. Drew's commenting as well. He's like, I think Caleb Odom would have been, a huge mismatch as well. All right. So, look, transfer portal's happening. How today is going to work. Todd, what's up? Good to see you. He's saying Odom fails miserably. Patriot Life up in the house. Appreciate you, Patriot Life. So how the show is going to work today is we are going to talk about the wide receivers today. And there was some really good sound from Coach Kalen DeBoer and Ryan Grubb talking about the wide receivers. And I'm excited to bring that to you guys, and we'll kind of go back and forth because the wide receivers here at the University of Alabama, I feel that that's the strongest overall unit. I think that the running backs are very solid as well. I think the defensive secondary is really good, but I think collectively the wide receivers are probably the strongest group. Also, today, okay, this is new. So this is a raffle, okay? So eyes up, listen. So this is a raffle. We're going to be raffling off this Ryan Williams hoodie. How this works is you get 20 either Venmos or Cash App, all right? So as soon as we get 20, then we'll raffle it out, okay? And if we don't hit that quota by this show, we'll just roll it into our next show. If you want more Ryan Williams gear, go to Athletes Thread. You can find it a lot of different places. But if you go to Athletes Thread and you just type in Ryan Williams or your favorite player, they should have some gear. So this is what we're doing today. So if you want to get in the raffle, it's just $10. I'll write your name down, keep a tally of it, and then we'll bust out the pinwheel to whoever gets it, okay? So as soon as we hit that 20 threshold mark, and you can either use Venmo or you can use Cash App, I'll text you back and let you know that you're locked in, and then we'll do the pinwheel. So if we don't hit the quota today, we'll roll it into the shows that we do. So, and I like this hoodie. Because these little caricatures are like in, I think it's tight. So that's what we'll be rolling with today. So I'll continue to bring this up throughout the show. But we'll do 20, and then we'll do the raffle out. All right, so Coach Kalen DeBoer had some comments recently talking about kind of like the roster and kind of like the roster management going into these next couple of months. Here's Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about kind of the strategy for his team going into, these next couple months after spring football.
Coach, now that you're, now that you're through spring and we're kind of touching on the transfer portal again, but what is you and your staff's approach as you navigate where college football is at over the course of the next month or so?
Yeah, I think for us as coaches, it's still, the foundation is still the same, right? Coach these guys, just continue to add to their value, add to what they can do, make them feel like they got a strong role in our team, that their development and growth continues to happen, and that we see that and that we want to be a part of that. I think just when they feel that and they get the feedback, and we can be strong with our guys. I mean, they know that we care about them, and they know that, we need them to help us accomplish our goals as a team. And, just they have their personal goals too, and we want to help them accomplish it. So again, you never know this time of year. We felt last year we really didn't lose anyone at this time that we felt we're going to have going into the fall, and so definitely. I don't want to say keep our fingers crossed, but that's the case, here with the portal. So I'm proud of our guys. I think the guys that you want around you, whether it's coaches or players, they have a good head on their shoulders. They can have perspective on what they really truly have here at Alabama, and it's special, whether it's the resources that they have and the people that they have around them in the training room, in the weight room. The coaching staff, I think, is elite as well. And so these guys are getting getting an experience that they should not take for granted. We can talk about the stories of guys who have come in and said how great it is here, or guys that have left and, maybe even wishing they could come back. And so, be careful what you ask for. The grass is definitely not greener on the other side. So I love our guys. I think we got a great group. They continue to push each other, hold each other accountable to a level of strain. And when I say accountable, it's not accountable just to, making sure you're here for this on time or doing this right. It's a level of strain. It's a level of edge. And I think they're really doing a much better job of that this year, now that they're more comfortable with who we are and what we want to be.
All right. That was Coach Kalen DeBoer. Chad Kennedy, I got you with the Cash App. Chad Kennedy is in for the raffle. Appreciate you, Chad. Going back to the comments by Coach Kalen DeBoer, there's a couple things that he said that I take away once again watching that is, number one, last year, Alabama didn't lose a lot of guys to the portal during that spring portal window. In fact, they brought in some guys during that spring portal window that were impactful during the season, right? Keon Sabb that I can think of, Josh Cuevas, Parker Brailsford. Caden Proctor came back. That was weird, right? Like, he was gone and then he came back. I think they got Graham Nicholson on the back end of the transfer portal. There was a couple other guys that came through. So it was more about adding, not subtracting. And I think that'll kind of be the same play this spring, is they're going to add on to what they have. But just as like Invest B says inside the comment box, and just as Coach Kalen DeBoer said, and we continue to see this, the grass isn't always greener. And I think a lot of people are starting to learn. All right, Marcus, we got you, bro. Thank you so much for hitting us up inside the comment box with that super. But I think like this whole thing with Tennessee's quarterback, Nico, it was kind of nice to see a university stand its ground, right? And be like, look, we're like, regardless of who you are, the quarterback or whatever, we're going to like stand tough. And I feel that message coming right before the transfer portal window, I think that might have, told a lot of players, no matter where they're at, the team is still bigger than who you are. Now, there's some players out there that could probably ask for more money, or I'm sure have already been taken care of. But the way that happened, it didn't go well for the players. It kind of went more for the team, which I think is a win. But then again, there's no guardrails. But I'm not necessarily thinking that there's going to be a large volume of guys hitting the transfer portal. And look, Coach Kalen DeBoer said a lot right there. He likes where the team is at. There's a lot of leadership on this team early on. And I'm, like I said earlier on the show, I don't think that there's a lot of guys that are going to hit the transfer portal, which tells you a lot about the locker room. Tells you a lot about the locker room and how these guys have bought into the program entering year 2 of Coach Kalen DeBoer. 100%. Marcus in with the super chat. Mark you down, Marcus. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much, man, for your support. He says, who does Alabama go after as their QB now, as Zamet is predicted to commit to Washington? I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see what Alabama does from the quarterback position. Clearly, they're going to take one. I don't know if they take two. Right now they only have 3. And Coach Kalen DeBoer was asked recently, or it was Ryan Grubb who was asked about how many quarterbacks that they want on scholarship in the future. He said 4 is probably the number. Right now that they feel really good with 3. I'd have to get back to you on that and kind of see how the quarterbacks play out in the top camps as they go forward. But, yeah, I did see that Zamet, looks like predicted to Washington, but still a long time. And even when you start talking about recruiting, it's just like we're a long ways out from these guys making real solid decisions. So we'll have to see. But I appreciate you, Marcus. Thank you so much. If you're just joining us, and I'm going to run through this a couple times, during the show because this is what we're doing today. We're doing a raffle for this Ryan Williams hoodie. All right, this is tight. So you get $10 in to win, a close to $70 hoodie. If you just want to buy this hoodie yourself or to buy any gear from the players, go to Athletes Thread. Basketball, football. I haven't seen any other gear, but we got Marcus is in Chad Kennedy. You guys are in the running. So as soon as we get 20, we'll bust out the pinwheel and the ways to support at the bottom of the screen. You got Venmo or to enter the raffle, Bama _ Venmo or Cash App, Bama YouTube. So the wide receiver position is absolutely elite. And here's a snapshot of the wide receivers. Okay, I'll go full screen on this. Look, and I've been doing this day by day. What is, on a scale of 1 to 10, now that we've seen the wide receivers in action and heard from the coaches talk about the wide receivers, and you can see them all on the board, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say that this group is talent-wise? Like in the room, 1 out of 10. Go ahead and sound off inside the comment box. I guess I'm going to say 10. Like there's, I think with the quarterback position, we have to see these guys put in place. So I think we gave him like a 7.5. Running backs, we give him like a 9. We were really high on the running backs yesterday. With the receivers, I think I'm going to go for, and I don't give out a lot of 10s, but I think I'm going with 10 because, Horton has been productive, and you're going to hear some sound from Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about him in just a minute. Jeremy Bernard was super productive and gets a little bit overshadowed because of Ryan Williams' success and just kind of who he is. Ryan Williams, megastar. And besides, the megastar and everything that he has going off, his NIL deals or this and that, the guy, he's it. We're not just hyping Ryan Williams. What we saw last year was just the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion. So, especially with Ryan Grubb. Are you kidding me? Rico Scott. You're going to hear the first soundbite that we play in just a minute will be from Ryan Grubb talking about Rico Scott. I have been talking about Rico Scott for a long time. A long time. I could just see it against Michigan on the back end of the season, how good he was going to be, and he's it. And the coaches love Rico Scott. Look at the rankings coming in. I asked 1 out of 10. Max Tooney says 9. Pogo Power. I love this username. That's tight. Josh is saying 8. That's going to be the lowest that we get. CD saying 10. Jason saying 9, 9.7. Larry Large saying 9. Lil Ye saying 9. See what I'm saying? Everyone's feeling the same way about this group because, with the quarterback room, we feel they could get there. But with the wide receiver room, we already know that they're there. And we still want to see a little bit more production from the running backs. I think that's kind of the only thing that's holding them up from a true 9. But the wide receivers have already proven. There's a lot of guys in this room that, need a chance to eat, and hopefully they get that opportunity this year. For example, Cole Adams, we saw him. He's good. Jalen Hell, man, he looks, and look, we've seen him. He looks closer to 100%. Didn't really get an update on Bubba Hampton, right? He was out. And what, Lazier Brooks and Derek Meadows. Lazier Brooks' stock is super high. He was he's probably number 2 freshman that I have on the board after DeJohn Lee. And then during this 8-day practice or whatever that was, Derek Meadows, his stock shot way up too. Get what I'm saying? I don't think, just because he didn't practice, I would probably say, who's going to leave here? I guess I'd be maybe Bubba Hampton. But I don't know that. I haven't heard anything. I think a guy that could be a starter somewhere else in the country would probably be Rico Scott and get more, catches. It's important to note that during this transfer portal window, you can't just go to the SEC if you haven't graduated already. So the only players that can transfer within the SEC are players that have graduated. That's like Ty Simpson. Other players have to go to other conferences. C. Todd's Bubba probably hit the transfer portal. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. And one player that I didn't talk about is Jalen Mbakwe. Look, I think. Oh, I saw the coldest Crawford. Did you see this? This guy's name is the coldest Crawford. He hit the transfer portal. But I think with Jalen Mbakwe specifically, look, we don't know if Alabama paid him more money or whatever, or if Ryan Williams was like, look, man, just come play wide receiver. Let's build up our brand. I mean, we're associated together, so everybody's going to continue to see you. And he is a A-plus athlete, so it might just take a little bit more time to get Jalen Mbakwe on the field. I kind of do agree with this, that he should have stayed at DB. But even, look at this, Todd. If he was to stay at DB, would he even be starting right now? I would say no. Rich B saying Cal lost 4 running backs to the portal. Oh, my goodness. I didn't see that. North Alabama Storm Chase, who has a great Facebook channel, by the way, says Williams, Bernard, Horton, great law firm. I love when people do that. All right, so, okay, let me ask you, and I asked the PM crew last night, do you think that any of these wide receivers hits a transfer portal from today to whenever it ends, the 16th or the 26th, I think it ends? Yes or no inside the comment box. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Do you think that a wide receiver hits a transfer portal from Alabama? I'm going to say no. And don't let me make your own, guess. I don't know. Maybe one. I mean, if there's a position, I might say this group. I don't know. All right, so it seems like okay, let's see. Anita saying no. Let's see what the answers are. And tabulating the results. Todd saying 1 running back. That would suck. Anita saying no to the wide receivers. North Alabama Storm Chase saying yes. Dan Caraway saying no. Larry Large saying yes. Marcus Cottrell back on Jalen Mbakwe, saying Bach more likely wanted to show off his offensive skills playing on defense. However, I do think Bach was a decent DB. I think he could even play Husky or safety. Tony's saying yes because we have too much talent. Somebody's got to play. Max Tooney saying very encouraged that no one is at the portal yet. That's true. Jason is saying maybe 1 wide receiver. Yeah, I'm a little bit torn on this one, but I mean, if anybody, I think we'd all point to like Bubba Hampton, and that's not because he doesn't have the talent. It's just like the guy didn't play. I think some of these guys might have passed him because of his injury, like Alazier Brooks, and it's gonna be hard to like keep Jalen healthy. Who knows? Who knows? Let's see how many wide receivers leave next year. Okay, Isaiah Horton's gone. Jeremy Bernard's gone. Ryan Williams has to come back. Jalen Mbakwe has to come back. I would imagine, depending on the season that Hell has, he's coming back. So you still, the room is young too, outside of losing 2. All right, here's some sound from Ryan Grubb. He was asked about Rico Scott, a very, very talented wide receiver, very, very talented.
What stood out about Rico Scott when he first got here, and what sort of progress have you seen him make this spring?
Good question. Rico, I think the first thing that stood out to me was a very serious kid about his game, and very intelligent. And a guy like that has the ability to play on the outside and then still function in the slot and have a role. You want more guys like that, honestly, that can line up in all 3 spots. And we've always had a few guys like that everywhere I've been that are able to, you can get into different spots. It's one of the things I've always thought that we did a good job with our offense as far as moving people around so people can't just get, hey, this is where Ryan Williams is every single play. This is where Rico's at. And so for Rico to be able to create that versatility and position flex, I thought was really big for him.
All right, that was Ryan Grubb talking about Rico Scott. If you want to get in, today's raffle is we're raffling off this hoodie. As soon as we hit 20 either Venmos or Cash App, we'll do the pinwheel. All right, right now we got Chad Kennedy and Marcus Cottrell in. So the Venmo is Bama_YouTube. Cash App is Bama YouTube. As soon as we hit that threshold, we'll do the pinwheel. We'll spin it out, and we'll get that hoodie out to you. And I think we'll do, some other stuff. We'll do like a football. We'll do some jerseys. We'll mix it up throughout the rest of the season. So, look, the comments on Rico Scott, and I think you're going to hear this about a lot of different wide receivers within this group. And Coach Caitlin DeBoer is going to talk on the back end about Ryan Williams as well. The thing about this wide receiver unit, outside of Isaiah Horton, I think Isaiah Horton is more boundary outside. I don't see him at the slot. Jeremy Bernard the same. But a lot of these wide receivers, if I go back to this graphic, most of these guys are interchangeable to where they can play outside or on the inside. Okay? So like Jalen Mbakwe can play on the outside or the slot. Ryan Williams, same thing. Rico Scott, same thing. Cole Adams, specifically slot. Jalen Hell, outside probably. Bubba Hampton, slot. Lazier Brooks, slot. And then Derek Meadows on the outside. So you have a lot of wide receivers that are pretty versatile. Specifically, I think the most versatile, even though we haven't seen a lot from Mbakwe, probably Mbakwe, Ryan Williams, and Rico Scott, and probably Jalen Hell. Those are probably the most, the wide receivers that could play outside or inside. Wait. Is Matt? Let's see. We got Matt. Prayers up for Matt. What you got, Matt? Let's go see what we got from Matt inside the comment box. I think I missed it. It sounds like Matt needs some uplifting. All right, whatever you're going through, Matt, it sounds like you might be going through some PT or something like that. Yeah, prayers up to Matt Dunn. Matt Dunn, really good member right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We love Matt. Prayers up, bro. And the thing about it, man, the thing about life is you go through these different things in your life where you have these little setbacks, but just keep pressing through. That's life. Life is about ups and downs, small wins, small losses, right? So you just keep pushing through. That's life. It's, I always talk about my mom is like, you figure you get past one problem and get ready for another. And that's it. Keep your head on the swivel and stay blessed and appreciate kind of that, those small little wins. All right. That was Grubb talking about Rico Scott. And let's see what else. Okay. So now we have Coach Caitlin DeBoer talking about the overall wide receiver competition. Because there's a lot of guys and people the same thing. Adam Lampella, we got you in with the Venmo, bro. You're in the raffle as well, bro. We got you as well. Adam Lampella in with the super chat or with the Venmo. All right, here's Coach Caitlin DeBoer talking about the overall competition of that room and how kind of versatile a lot of these guys are.
Assess the competition at wide receiver beyond kind of the obvious guys at the top.
Yeah, it's there are. I mean, you got some experienced guys coming back. You had Isaiah in. I thought Rico Scott had a really nice spring. We expected that. That's actually one internally we expected. We could see that happening throughout the fall. Roll grew in December. But, you can go on and on. I really like our freshmen that came in as well with Derek and Lazier. Really think we nailed it with incoming freshmen that way. They're freshmen. That's what we got to remember. And so there's some growth that they got to experience, much like we're talking about quarterback and these tackles and so forth. And then you can go into the Mbakwe's and guys that made that transition, and Jalen Hale coming back, and go on down the line. They all are just out there competing, and I like the mindset that's developing. And I say developing because it's something I think we're capable of, but we are far from there yet. And it's to be, the best receiving corps in the country, and that's not just one or two guys or three. That's the whole unit. And whoever goes out there, we're developing more confidence that they can get the job done. I like the versatility that a lot of these guys have, inside, outside. Yep. We can move guys around, much like we've been accustomed to over many years, to where you don't know where so-and-so is going to line up. And that might not just be the receivers. That might be the tight ends, the running backs. They can line up in empty. They can be out flex. They can be in tight to the box. If you're a tight end, you can put your hand on the ground. So we got a lot of position flex, a lot of versatility. The guys are understanding the system, not just the what and how of what they're supposed to do in their execution, but also the why.
Yeah, I love that. And just as I was talking about, when you look at the wide receiver room, that's the thing we hear. You hear the versatility. And when you go back and watch, like if you really want to get into it, and now is probably a good thing to do now that, we're getting towards the back end of April and, May, when you have some more time to look at film or get excited about stuff. Ramajama, boy 99, what's up? I see you inside the comment box. Good morning to you. Go back and look at Washington and some of the sets that they used and how they used some of their wide receivers. I bet you that Ryan Grubb is literally like a kid in a candy store. Now, he seems more stoic and he doesn't seem to get too high, too low. But I bet you, just knowing that he has, the weapons at his disposal, if he can keep everybody intact within this room, it's going to be an arsenal. And if he can get a quarterback that can operate that system, and it looks like he's getting closer to that, talking about Ty and some of the other development of these other quarterbacks, this room and the wide receivers are going to get fed. This group right here that you're seeing on the screen, this could be one of the top wide receiving groups in the entire country. And I think Ohio State has probably grabbed that role within the last, maybe like 2 or 3 years. I think Ohio State collectively has had the better wide receivers. But I think Alabama, before that it was Alabama, but I think that this particular group right here will be among the nation's best. I mean, look at all these guys. So inside, outside, like Coach Kalen DeBoer was talking about, such a versatile group. All right, in with Cash App, we got Adam Lampello, he's in. We got Dan Caraway and Brandon Walls on Cash App. So thank you so much for jumping in the raffle. And again, if you want to get into the raffle today, this is what we're raffling off. So $10 to, maybe win a raffle for this Ryan Williams hoodie. As soon as we get 20, then we'll do the pinwheel. So if we don't hit that threshold by today, we'll just roll it over into our next show. After that, pinwheel, I'll inform you guys if you guys have won or not, and I'll make an announcement when we're going to do the pinwheel. So just something new that we're doing right here on Bama Football on YouTube. All right, that was Coach Kalen DeBoer talking about the overall competition of the wide receivers. And now we go to talk about Isaiah Horton. So the big thing with Isaiah Horton, when he came over from Miami, and I knew this already, Miami, a contact that I have in Miami reached out to me, and I've said this before. They were like, is that true? Because that will be a gigantic loss for the Hurricanes. I don't know if you've seen, but Miami has lost quite a few to the transfer portal. Another wide receiver, I think, just this morning. Raffle Jones, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Good morning. And Isaiah Horton would have been the starter. He would have been the absolute number one at Miami. So for him coming to Tuscaloosa, upgraded that room. The room would have been good without him. They are that much better with him. This is a really good soundbite talking about who I feel could be, I would imagine that if I had to put a number on it, Isaiah Horton's going to catch like 50 balls. I think Ryan Williams will probably be in that 70 to 80 range, and I think Jeremy Bernard will probably be like, 45 to 50 as well. But here's Coach Kalen DeBoer talking specifically about Isaiah Horton, 6'4", right? 215-pound wide receiver on the outside. Here's Coach Kalen DeBoer.
When you look at him in practice or out at A-Day, just how much of a true red zone threat was that in consideration when you were trying to go get a guy like that?
Yeah, I had high expectations for him coming in as far as who he would be, and he has definitely not let us down or me down for sure. He's come in, and the thing I love about Isaiah is just the way he handled it. He's a guy that, you want to ingrain and get yourself in there, but he went about his work. And guys, what I've seen here that come in and just do the work, they develop a respect amongst the team quicker than not, because that's what our guys care about, is who's going to come in, who really wants to be a part of this culture, who's willing to work. He has done that, and now all of a sudden you see him, because he is a productive guy. He does have that ability, and it's well-rounded. It's not just a red zone thing. That presence about him is something that's, I think, something we recognize, his teammates recognize, and have really grown a high level of respect. So he's got that body type. He caught some balls. I know it was televised and stuff. He caught some balls for Jalen at Pro Day, and he's showing out in a lot of different ways for some of us who had seen him a couple practices, but guys who can catch in-breaking routes coming in full speed and not break stride. That's something I think is one indicator of how smooth and how talented you are. But he's really fit in well. He's got a great personality, a great teammate.
All right, that was Coach Kalen DeBoer talking specifically about Isaiah Horton. And same thing, Ruben Poole, thanks for the super chat, bro. I really appreciate it. It's good to see you too, Ruben Poole. Hope you're well, bro. Isaiah Horton showed out during Pro Day. Now, there was some takeaways from Pro Day. You know, most of it was around Jalen Milroe and him running a 4.3 or whatever he ran. But one of the sub-headlines during that point, during that day, was the play of Isaiah Horton, because he had Jalen Milroe's wide receivers that day, if I can remember correctly. It was Isaiah Horton, Ryan Williams, Jerry Bernard. Help me out. Was Rico Scott out there? I never saw Rico Scott. And then he had a couple tight ends. Maybe Rico Scott was there, maybe he wasn't. But the three starters were there. And everybody, all the team reporters, were blown away with Isaiah Horton. Now, look, last year the same thing happened, or was it a couple years ago, with Malik Benson. Remember when Malik Benson, same thing. He came out and he caught passes. I think it was for Bryce Young, I want to say. And he fizzled out. He didn't really do anything, and then he eventually transferred to Florida State. And I think he's back in the transfer portal. I can't remember. I think this one is more believable with Isaiah Horton, and he would have been the number one at Miami. So Alabama really invested into Isaiah Horton to come over here. Plus, compounded on that, Isaiah Horton and Ty Simpson have chemistry. They're both from Tennessee, played in 7-7 together, right? Isaiah Horton, talking to the Crimson Tide Sports Network, said, look, that's my guy. I believe fully in him, and there's already chemistry there. When we heard about small nuggets from the scrimmages, there was a scrimmage where I think Isaiah Horton hauled in 3 touchdowns. Counted 4. He caught a touchdown during the 8-day practice from Jerry Bernard. You see what I'm saying? So Isaiah Horton certainly is that guy. I can't wait to see what he does this year. I think it'll be a major mismatch with him on the outside and Ryan Williams in the slot. You still have time while I'm here to get into the raffle. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Chad Kennedy, Marcus Cottrell, Adam Lampello, Dan Caraway, and Brandon Walls in for the hoodie. We need 20, and then we'll do the team raffle to win this Ryan Williams hoodie. If you want to bypass it and you just want to buy a hoodie of Ryan Williams or your favorite player, go to Athletes Thread and check out all the stuff that they have. I think they have a couple items in the soup store. Okay, Ruben's in. All right, Ruben's in as well. All right, Ruben is in. We'll put you for 2 entries, bro, with the $19.99. We got you for 2. So that's where we stand with Isaiah Horton. Okay, we continue. Today's all about wide receivers, okay? And tomorrow, I think we'll hit on the tight ends on the back end of this video, and then we'll continue to move offensive line. And, of course, if there's major news that breaks regarding the transfer portal, I'll hop back on, or I'll just add it to my show, or I'll come and talk about it in the evening time. And we'll work our way all the way to the defense. Coach Kalen DeBoer is talking specifically now about Ryan Williams. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Ryan Williams is so project, how you get into the hoodie raffle is you $10, okay? And to Venmo, Bama_YouTube, or Cash App, Bama YouTube. It's at the bottom of the screen. And then we enter you in. Greg, what's up, man? Is anybody in the portal? No, nobody is in the portal for Alabama. Just answering you straight up, Greg. And we don't anticipate a lot of guys to be in the portal, to be honest. We think Alabama will go into the portal and get some guys, but we don't anticipate like a high volume. Maybe a couple will leak out, but we're not anticipating a lot of guys entering. So rest easy if you're worried about that. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Ryan Williams – okay, I have to go see how many passes he caught last year. I can do that real quick. 2024 stats. Okay, so last year he caught 48 passes, okay? 48 passes for 865. Let's put the over-under for Ryan Williams. Let's say 65 passes. So do you think he catches for more or less than 65 passes this year? More or less than 65? I'm going to say more. Chad, I got you in 2 times, man. Two times, Chad. You're good. I'm going to say more than 65. And let me ask you this. Do you think he catches for, let's say, 1,200 yards? I think he'll go for 1,000 yards easy. 65 catches, 1,200 yards. I'll tell you what. I don't know how many yards that he'll catch for. I would imagine it's going to be over 1,000. But I think that the reason that he's going to catch a high volume of passes is because he's going to be in that slot. Tiffany, I got you in with a 10 spot as well. Tiffany Bentley, got you in. So I see that if he is utilized at the slot and he's catching more of his passes underneath 20 yards or so, he could wind up with 70 to 80 receptions. And that's not going, and I know, that's not going to take away a lot from the other guys too, because if they're kind of dinking and dunking and they're rotating a lot of guys in, you're going to have a lot of volume from your wide receivers. A lot of guys are going to catch a lot of passes. It's just not going to be a one-man show this year. There's going to be a high volume. Even like your fourth wide receiver, let's just theoretically say it's Rico Scott, is going to catch over 30 passes. So here's and the big thing is you're like, well, what the hell's the slot? Maybe you're not, you just know football at a surface level. The slot position is the inside wide receiver. So you have the outside wide receiver, and then you have the inside wide receiver. The inside wide receiver is tougher to deal with from a defensive perspective because he's going against, maybe your third best corner. And you're trying to figure out from a safety perspective, like how to stop this guy. And if you focus too much on the slot, well, then guess what? The outside is going to eat you up as well. But those are more the intermediate underneath routes to get the ball to the slot. And here's Coach Kalen DeBoer talking specifically about Ryan Williams.
A bit of the thinking of Ryan Williams being in the slot at times and, the benefits that's going to give the offense and the problems it will present for defenses.
Are you asking if we've been thinking about that?
No, I know you have.
Oh, okay. We have. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things you can do with Ryan. We never want to take away what he can do when he's out there isolated, but the ability for him, to get inside and get matchups, and he can get matchups against guys, but pretty much against anyone. But I also think that we don't want to just put him in a spot. I've seen slot guys get bracketed and so forth, and so we need to make sure that, again, that our system allows guys to get to all areas of the field. And because of Germ and because of these other guys, we talk about Isaiah, we can go on and on and on through our roster right now that can go inside or outside. That will allow Ryan to be able to do that. So you want the greatness of others to help you become great, and that's something that's really big. It's going to help Ryan have even a bigger season is because of the others around him.
100%. Look, that he's exactly right. And a lot of people, I think, were worried when they brought in Isaiah Horton. They're like, oh, that's going to take away Ryan. No, the best thing that happened to Ryan Williams this summer or this the last transfer portal was getting Isaiah Horton. That just boosted Ryan Williams like through the roof because you have Jeremy Bernard, Isaiah Horton to deal with, or throw in Rico Scott or Jalen Hill. And now you're like, where the hell's number 2, Ryan Williams? Okay. So it's going to free him up tremendously. And I think that mixed in with a good running game, that's why I'm feeling like Alabama. I'm in my feels about Alabama's offense. In Southern Red, I got you. All right, with Tiffany. Didn't want to call you out by your real name, Southern Red, but I got you in with the super or the Venmo. So thank you so much. I got you. All right, we got 9. We're up to 9. You still have time to get in to get into this raffle. It's Venmo, Bama_YouTube, or Cash App. So basically $10 to win this hoodie. As soon as we get 20, we'll raffle it off and we'll send it your way. All right. So we're going to do this as part of our show now going forward. So we'll mix and match. Some items might be really big ticket items. This is probably mid-range, and then we'll do some smaller ones as well. Coach Kalen DeBoer, let's see I have a couple more clips, I think. Okay. Kind of in closing towards the tight end room. Let me ask you, do you feel that Alabama needs to take a tight end from the transfer portal? Do you feel that Alabama needs to take a tight end? Or at least look at who's on the board? I haven't even seen too many tight ends that I'm going to go to the transfer portal after this. You can go to On3. I think Rivals probably has one as well, or 24/7. Whoever's on the board, I don't know. I haven't seen who's on the board for a tight end. Now, it's important to note that a lot of these guys were banged up. Like Danny Lewis, he was out for spring. He got banged up. Josh Cuevas got banged up. Jay Lindsey was the only guy here catching passes that was like on scholarship. He's not here yet, and he was banged up twice. Josh Cuevas, is he like an ultra playmaker? I don't know. I think he can be a playmaker, but is he like, somebody who's going – he's kind of similar to the tight end that Washington had in that 2023 team. I'm serious. But just not a lot of production right now. Alabama Renegade talking about the walk-on Knudsen. Yeah, he's another guy. And then they brought in, Jay Hobson as well. I didn't hear too much about him. But it seems like the consensus is about the, maybe taking a look at who's at the tight end group. Here's Ryan Grubb specifically talking about Jay Lindsey, and I think he might say some other things about the tight end room.
Jay Lindsey, over here.
There you are.
Yep. What do you think of how Jay Lindsey stepped up sort of in the absence of other scholarship tight ends?
When you say others, you mean all. Yeah, he did a good job. It was great. Jay, you always look for those type of opportunities where somebody has to make an impact in a tough stage. And, for Jay to have to step in that role and really take over after the rest of the guys, had went down, he got better. I mean, it was kind of necessity is the mother of invention, right? And for Jay, it certainly was it. And I thought he answered the bell well. I thought for him, pass catching and things like that, being able to separate and find opportunity at the second level was something that he needed to work on. And I thought he did a good job of that, and then just being, I think that Jay can be a run blocker kind of guy, like your true anchored Y that gets a couple throws here and there, but is kind of that tough guy mentality. And I thought he showed up.
All right, that was Coach Grubb, offensive coordinator, talking about the tight end. So this is good intel inside the comment box. Let's see. Byron is saying that 247 has the most updated portal site out there. Good to know. Thank you. I'll dive into that, and we'll bring that on here tomorrow, the next couple of days as we go forward. So good heads up on that, Byron. I appreciate it. You always have my back on that. All right, we're up to 9 for the raffle. We'll close out. I have some closing thoughts, but if you want to get into the raffle, hit the Bama _ YouTube for Venmo, Cash App. I'll notify you that you've been in the raffle, and then when we hit 20 total, we'll do the pinwheel. It doesn't look like we're going to hit it on this show, but we'll just roll it into our next show, and I'll keep you guys notified, and I'll let you know when we do the pinwheel, and then we'll send it out to you guys. So that's what we're rocking with. If you want to bypass that and just go buy the players' gear, go to Athletes Thread. Oh, Paul Gonzalez, I got you in, bro. P. Gonzalez, I got you. And you can buy all the athletes that you want. Whoever, I mean, most of them are on there. You have to kind of just surf around. But, yeah, that's a way to get the gear. You can go to the student store. I've even seen some stuff on Dick's Sporting Goods, like if you want a jersey of the players. It is kind of it's nice now to get like officially licensed gear of the players. So you do you. As news happens, I got you covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube regarding the transfer portal. Again, I wouldn't leave thinking that, like, oh, my goodness, I'm so worried about guys dipping. I'm really not. I think, as Coach Kalen DeBoer said at the beginning, they didn't lose a lot in the last spring, and I don't think they will this spring. And I think that says a lot about the locker room and a lot about the leadership and about kind of where this program is headed. Because once you start losing guys at this point in time, I think it sends a message like things are off the rails, right? Things aren't good. Guys aren't buying into the program. Guys aren't buying into the philosophy. Guys are looking outside. Guys are being slid into the DMs and to lured other places. It means that Alabama's not broke, right? How about that? It means that, things are going really well for Alabama, so they're able to take care of their guys properly and have a good game plan for them so they can finish out here and move on to the NFL. The other thing is, too, the one thing about transferring school to school to school is it sets you back in graduation. Coach Saban said that a long time ago because all of your credits don't always translate, right? So be patient, get your degree, load up. I appreciate you guys being here. Again, if you want to jump into the raffle, even if you watch it on the rewatch, I'll notify you. Bama _ YouTube on Venmo, and then Cash App Bama YouTube. And then as soon as we're loaded up, we'll run the raffle with the pinwheel. I know Adam thinks the pinwheel's rigged. It's not. The pinwheel is not rigged. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys watching. Keep your head on the swivel. If major news happens, I'll come back live, cut a video on it as we go forward. But I think Alabama's in really good position right now in terms of the roster management. I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. Video courtesy of the University of Alabama. I love to chop it up and hear the coaches again. Tomorrow we'll look at the offensive line. And again, news as it happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Stay where your feet are at. Stay blessed. Be good people. And we'll catch you next time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. See you, fam.